Here we go then, England against Luxembourg, live from a sold-out Stoke City Stadium, and it is time to get into it. Let's join your commentary team, Chelsea manager Emma Hayes, and first, Seb Hutchinson.
Yes, thank you, Laura. Let's get a look at the teams straight away. Sarina Wiegman said she would make some changes, and she has, but only 3 from the team that beat Austria. Ellie Roebuck makes her first competitive start for England in goal. Rachel Daly comes in at left-back with Alex Greenwood partnering Leah Williamson. Lauren Hemp gets a much-deserved rest with Nikita Parris coming into the side after scoring from the bench at the weekend, and there's a 50th cap for Keira Walsh. Well, can they do it on a Tuesday night in Stoke? Well, they don't have to. Job done on Saturday evening in front of under 3,000 in Austria. Now over 10 times that. Looking to pack out the potteries on a night to welcome back their Wembley winners. And the players will take the knee just before kickoff as well. Stand against all forms of discrimination. Warmly applauded by the crowd in the Stoke City Stadium. Well, away we go. Pressure off in front of a packed house. And Emma Hayes, what a feeling it must be to watch an England side fresh off being crowned champions of Europe.
Well, I think it's really interesting. Something you said to me in the build-up to the game was that this is the first time we've seen a packed crowd that are genuinely here to see these players, and not just because it's a cheaper ticket. And you can feel that energy. You certainly know that every single member of the crowd recognises the players and their achievements this summer. And it's certainly a victory parade that everyone should enjoy.
And they're facing a Luxembourg side now, one of the lowest ranked teams in the world, who tonight are without their best player as well in the shape of Amy Thompson. Very unlucky not to be involved. And England will be looking for goals. Scored 10 in the reverse fixture. Just their second game in qualifying then. They've not let up since. In that reverse fixture, Luxembourg did actually defend pretty well for 3/4 of the game. Shipped 4 goals in the closing stages. Here's Nikita Parris, already looking to play one in. And they can't clear their lines here. Luxembourg already looking towards the referee. But it was a good tackle. There wasn't really anything in the way of protest either.
What a great start from England. Their counter-pressing, their ability to get around the ball in the first 2 seconds, I think is the thing that's improved the most under Sarina Wiegman. Certainly take the game seriously, irrespective of qualification. And I think these games are about building momentum towards next year's World Cup.
Already looking to link things up. We saw Jill Scott before the game, and she made her debut, her England debut, before Luxembourg had even played their first ever international match. And they field a team tonight with 4 teenagers, 2 of which are the twin sisters Mariana and Joanna Lourenco Magalhaes. Leah Williamson partnering Alex Greenwood tonight after that successful combination with Millie Bright during the European Championships. And Keira Walsh, easy for her to play a pass like that. Time for Parris, and probably just a bit hesitant on the ball there, Nikita Parris. Bronze trying to keep that alive, but Keira Walsh, their first sign of what she can do.
I think she will get on the ball a lot. It looks like Luxembourg are shaping up in a 4-4-2. So for Keira in that pivot position, I think she'll see a lot of switches of play, a lot of possession.
England will see a lot of possession this evening. Stanway. Greenwood out to Rachel Daly. Looking for the ball towards Bronze, who's making the point. I was clearly offside, Rachel. I think, Emma, all those years of looking at Lucy Bronze as the standout player for England, but she's just one of many standout players in this England side now.
Yeah, she is, but she deserves a lot of credit for the standards that she's drove. And every time I hear her interview, that winning mentality shines through. There's been zero compromise with that, and I think she's been a real leader in this team.
Joining Barcelona this summer is Paris, looking for Stanway, already making breaks from midfield and looking for a corner and getting it. I think the defender there wasn't really sure what's going on.
Well, it's a difficult area already. You can see England overloading that right-hand side with both Stanway and Paris playing slightly inside, with Lucy Bronze high and wide.
Katrine Harver there conceding the corner to be taken by Greenwood. And in it goes, and set pieces are always going to be a weapon for England in a game like this. There'll be another corner. Mo Millie Bright to attack them after she scored twice in the reverse game.
Well, you can see England starting in the back zone, looking to attack that front post space. You can see that little area in front of that frontal zone.
And it goes from Greenwood again. This time it's dealt with at the near post. Kira Walsh always stays back for the corners, just to get England going again. Captain Williamson. Now Greenwood. Has to play the pass. Close down there, but they can get it moving again here, England. And Emma, we did the reverse fixture of this, and they were pretty organised for a period, Luxembourg. But the fitness, the speed, the skill of these England players proved too much for them in the end.
Look,
is that all they can do in a game like this?
Survive, keep the scoreline down. There's a gulf in class, there's a gulf in resources and exposures to high-level games, and this is where the women's game's at, in terms of there's such a gulf in difference between the likes of England and Luxembourg. I think these are the next steps for the women's game to create more equality of opportunity, especially for lower ranked teams, so they can get the same amount of resource as the top teams.
Dos Santos trying to clear the ball under immense pressure. And that's the other point, is whenever Luxembourg get the ball, England, in the way they like to play, quick to press. Bronze. Again, Stanway making several of those breaks already. Georgia Stanway, another of those players who've left the WSL. Went Bayern Munich. Greenwood. Ella Toon, caught on the ball there. Quickly trying to win it back as well. In many ways, Serena Wiegmann will probably be wanting the players to take some chances, knowing full well that they can win that ball back quickly.
I think we have to be mindful that a lot of these players have just started up in their pre-seasons, and yes, they are fit, but you know, it does take some time to find that rhythm, especially after the Euros where they played back-to-back games.
Alessia Russo. The heir apparent to Ellen White's centre forward role. There are other options for England in this squad and on the bench. Williamson. Greenwood. Very famous song against a ring round the ground. Toon tries to run onto that. Good challenge in there from Dos Santos, the fullback. Losing it quickly, and Paris just ran away from her there, but another of those incisive passes.
One of those movements we've come to see with Nikita Paris, when she likes to come on the inside shoulder of the fullback. That diagonal run, I think, so synonymous with her play. And I agree with Karen Carney in the build-up to the game. She looks like she's got a new lease of life. Certainly expect big things. I think Manchester United will suit her this year.
Bronze, plenty of room and plenty forward as well. Couldn't beat the first player with a cross. Bronze having lost the ball there. Quickly try and close down on the twins on the left-hand side, and Mariana Lorenko Margalais. But here's Walsh. Bronze. Greenwood stretching the play, and it just ran away from Beth Mead there. Beth Mead, the player of the Euros.
And finding herself out on that left-hand side where she's equally comfortable. And the first time in this game that we've seen the ball put out on that side of the pitch. And what you do have with Alex Greenwood is that ability to hit left-footed diagonal balls out the same side.
I guess that's essentially why she's been preferred to Millie Bright in that factor, because I'm sure Serena's pretty sure who her central defensive pairing are going forward.
I think most people will expect changes to happen today, perhaps even more.
And Greenwood finding that pass between the lines, and Mead. Plenty forward here for England. Mead hanging in towards Paris. And it's just defended there at that back post. Paris just waiting for that ball to come across.
Wow, what lovely play from Beth Mead. Not just in the ability to get them in behind, but it's the way she chops the ball, lifts it towards the back post where England have two players sat on the fullback.
Bronze. Back to Walsh. Bronze again, and keeping their defenders up, waiting for the cross. Greenwood down the line. Toon almost made a mess of that, almost broke to Paris there. And again, Harbour, the defender for Luxembourg, one of the more experienced members of their team. Toon rolling her foot over the ball, manipulating it, goes down, look for the penalty, England get it. Russo gets it, no doubt in the referee's mind there, and the challenge from Harbour leads to a spot kick for England.
Well, what a lovely first touch by Alessia Russo, just takes the ball away from the defender. Clear penalty. Decisive centre-forward play. I think that's what Russo does so well in her link play. It's what she does short inside the box, much like that pass from Toon.
So Georgia Stanway from the spot to give England an early lead, and she takes that chance. And the account is open for the night for England. And Georgia Stanway, who's had success from the spot before for the Lionesses, no problem with that one. Goalkeeper almost got there, but not enough.
Has certainly stepped up confidently, slotted it home. Been a dominant start from England as we've expected.
Right in the corner from Stanway, goal number 12 of her international career. And Serena Wiegmann, there's no doubt England are going to score some goals tonight. The first one is from the spot. Remember at the start of this qualification campaign, where England were a bit slow out of the blocks because North Macedonia came on strong in that game to eventually score 8, but Serena Wiegmann did say she wanted them to be a lot more clinical in front of goal. They definitely have been. Here's Walsh. Greenwood. Now Daly. Eased inside. Daly. And Mead ducks inside. A couple of challenges Mead. Walking past players. Walsh not quite losing the ball. Toon finds time for Russo. That's a good save, you have to say. Schlimmai, the teenage goalkeeper.
She didn't have much time to think about it. What a lovely split pass from Toon. Again, another great first touch from Russo. Probably expects more. But fantastic goalkeeping. Very instinctive.
Lucy Schlimmai, though, an excellent save. And she'll certainly remember, but England's coming forward again. Mead. There's power behind that, blocked by Dos Santos. Luxembourg have only ever faced a top 10 nation once before tonight, and that was the reverse fixture against England. So no doubt this is their biggest ever away trip. Lost by 2 though. Caroline Georges hanging inside to Laura Miller, probably the standout player in this Luxembourg side, carrying the ball a long way. One of the few who play the football outside Luxembourg. Just ran out of space there in the end. But a foray forward for the visitors.
I think where England are pushing both fullbacks up, there is a little bit of space in front of Greenwood and Williamson, and that England know that they can commit extra bodies going forward. I think sometimes when you play opponents where you know you're going to dominate, you tend to develop some bad habits. And I think sometimes England committed a lot of bodies forward because they know they can get away with it.
Bodies looking forward here again. Bronze. Looking away inside and getting it back very quickly. Here's Lucy Bronze. Strong player in central areas as well for England. Greenwood towards Mead, brings that ball down effortlessly, looks to link up. Quite, they swarmed around there. Luxembourg looking to defend well. That's young Charlotte Schmidt, only 16 years old. Walsh. Now Bronze. Williamson. Bronze, plenty of the ball for England so far, understandably. Rousseau holds off the defenders. Daly looking for Paris. Bronze, numbers over at the back post for England. Now Mead. Sent in again, looking for Bronze, who's in that penalty area. Can make those sort of runs. Here's Toon, backed off her there. Could spell trouble for Luxembourg because they're in again. It's almost a well-worked move. Rousseau almost finishing it off.
Oh, again, England so good with the pressure regains outside of the box. This time falling back to Mead. It's a lovely first-time ball towards the front post, and Rousseau, watching her live and watching how she's developing as a centre forward, her movement is really good.
There were times last season for Manchester United where they didn't even play a centre forward. Fancy they will do this season.
No, I think she's openly admitted there's things she has to learn in that position. But I can see she's not only comfortable coming short to get on the ball, but she plays really well on the blind side. Sits deep on the back shoulder. I'm sure she's learned a lot from Ellen White.
Just an example of the task that Luxembourg have. 2 16-year-olds in their midfield, 20-year-old captain. Nation developing, but facing one of the world's best here. Bronze, loads of time for Bronze. Couldn't pick teammate out in the middle. Sent back in again by Williamson, and they followed up. Rousseau. Well, a second for England, and Alessia Rousseau can't stop scoring for England.
Oh, what a cross from Leah Williamson. It really was. She fizzed that ball in. And the timing of the run from Rousseau, superb. And so much quality of the execution, both of the cross and the finish. A good play initially. You can see Paris always looking to come on the inside as a second striker, and Bronze almost like a right wing back. But look at this ball from Williamson. Time to perfection. Striker's finish.
And a 10th England goal for Alessia Rousseau, cap number 15. The thing with this England team, they've been relentless in their goal scoring during the time under Serena Wiegmann. Mead, Toon. So much for Luxembourg to contend with. And Georges trying to run that ball out. Williamson there to mop up. We have two excellent passes of the ball. Central defence. And Greenwood. We have seen some spare seats in the crowd, just because quite a few of the fans have been trapped at the park and ride to get to the stadium. Should be full up before the end of the half, we hope. England looking again. Oh, that was just wide from Ella Toone.
A good short ball play again from England. The way they're linking up in these central areas, using Walsh as the spare player every time. Not only have England got bodies inside the pitch, they're still maintaining their width.
Trouble here with Russo on the shoulder. Harbour had to clear. In the thick of the action at the moment, the Luxembourg centre half. It's going to be a difficult night. Here's Paris. Heavy touch from Daly, and that'll allow Miller to come out with the ball. Quickly, the English shirts are there. Bronze. Greenwood. And now Mead. And Walsh. Stanway. Space everywhere. Toone. And the block came across in the end. It will be a corner.
Again, good patient play. Swinging the ball. I think everything good coming through England's midfield. Good run again from Tooney.
Options everywhere for England. Goals could come from any route in this team against this opposition. In goes the corner. There could be another one here off the post. No one there to follow up, is there? Perhaps. Thought it might break. Bronze coming back to make sure England keep pressing forward. Alex Greenwood coming so close there, adding England's third. She scored twice in the reverse fixture. Two very good goals in that game. Bronze with a diagonal. Santos across, almost dropped towards Russo. Daly. As expected, England dominating the ball. Already a couple of goals up. Greenwood. Paris. Stanway took that ball well and looks for Toone. Desperate defence. Russo. Mead couldn't keep it down. Almost walking it in there, England.
Having said that, I still think there could be one extra pass. I think you can see Mead being the spare player the other side of the box. Good clearing run from Russo initially, but if Tooney could just pick her head up and see that Mead was spare on the back post.
The Greenwood chance off the post. Well, even though England are dominating this game and they're scoring goals, you can imagine the likes of Paris and Mead and Toone will be very frustrated indeed if they don't get on the score sheet, because there is competition in those areas. Stanway getting away from the challenges there. Mead. Russo will get there first. Goalkeeper did well. Danger still not clear for Luxembourg.
But that's the extra pass I'm referring to. Really great first-time ball out from Ella Toone, which then allows the pass in behind to Russo. Some good movement from England.
So Luxembourg halfway through this first half. 2-0 down. Not bringing everybody back for the corner. And goes the corner. Russo just missed her, and then goalkeeper pushed at that. Was in the right place. Attacked by Daly. Here's Stanway. And Walsh, under no pressure, helps that out to Mead. And Mead, they can't deal with her. And side netting from Toon. He's got the space of Stoke.
Well, it's such a narrow back four from Luxembourg when they're in their set defence. Spraying the ball out wide to England is important, except when Mead comes on the inside. I think at times England can build back around the box to the other side.
Russo off to Mead again, who's seeing plenty of the ball so far. Oh, almost completed that beautiful dribble there, but Santos did well. One of Luxembourg's more standout players, Kimberly dos Santos. On that right-hand side. Almost beaten by Mead. Couldn't quite complete that skill.
That was a great thought from Mead. What a year she's had. Really, really deserves all the credit she's got this summer. I thought she was outstanding last year for Arsenal.
Standing for England, not just at the Euros, but across Serena Wigman's time in charge. Toon. And she's in here. Mead. Can she pick the pass? She can to Stanway. They carved them open there. Total expected control from England. And it's being reflected on the score sheet in this first half. 3-0.
What a great team goal that was, Seb. Every part of that. The timing, the understanding, the execution. Look like European champions. They start with the first pass from Greenwood. Excellent pass, and this brilliant threaded pass in behind from Ella Toon, and fabulous cutback to Stanway. Scored many goals from this position. Brilliant finish.
Second for Georgia Stanway tonight. And she's on a hat-trick, and there's been a fair few hat-tricks for England during this qualification campaign. Toon. And Bronze. Stanway. Walsh. Daly, touch to get that ball out. Get the cross in. She's got another chance here, Daly. Walsh again. And Greenwood waiting for some engagement. Luxembourg, understandably, sitting off England's deeper players. So many of the Luxembourg players are speaking before this game about how exciting it will be tonight, whatever the scoreline. Just couldn't link up with Bronze there. Becker. Another chance is back with Miller. Miller loses that ball to Mead, who hurt herself in the process. It will be a free kick to England. Just a bit of discomfort there for Mead.
Did so well to get around the ball. And so often, as soon as England lose it, within 2 seconds they've regained it. And if not, they're back into position. So a chance for defenders to get forward here, try and get themselves on the score sheet. And Williamson is up for this one. Greenwood and need the options to take. Russo, Bronze, Daly, Williamson to aim for, but England tried to play the clever pass. It couldn't find its way through. Luxembourg read that one. Getting out right on time. Daly. Now Greenwood to Williamson. Head up, looking for the pass over the top, and almost dropped it on the sixpence for Mead, the club teammates. Well, that's what you get with Leah Williamson, a centre-back And certainly a most comfortable position, but the passing range of a midfield player growing with every game in an England shirt. And I could totally understand why Wiegman played her in midfield, but she looks world class as a centre half.
Just barely had to make a tackle at the European Championships. Could say Millie Bright made most of them.
I think they were a good complement to each other. There's certainly a lot of aerial balls that had to be won from crosses that maybe that's where Millie Bright will shine, but in possession and her ability to intercept play, Leah Williamson, is second to none. Great maturity to her performances.
Well, a problem here for Luxembourg. Kimberly Dos Santos. And while she gets some treatment, we'll get a chance to see England and Williamson's brilliant pass for Russo's goal. Right on the money. This is what she can do, Emma.
This is what I'm talking about, having a midfielder's eye to hit that first time, outswing towards the back post. Russo knew exactly where it was going.
Well, Kira Walsh spoke about, in the aftermath of the competition, how useful it was having Leah Williamson behind her. If she felt she was under a lot of pressure, she'd always have that relief valve. I mean, Leah Williamson behind her.
Yeah, and two players that have played together for a long time, and you see the way England's centre-backs are with Kira Walsh as the single pivot. I think Greenwood plays it equally well. They're very patient in their possession, England centre-halves, and it allows Walsh to get on the ball, find the right spaces.
They're a player down at the moment, Luxembourg. Not that it could get any more difficult for them. Santos off the pitch at the moment, but wants to come back on. And Dan Santos, the Luxembourg coach, wants to get her back on. And now she is back on, but have to fill in on her wrong side for now. And Luxembourg, despite facing a difficult night this evening and a difficult night in the games against Austria and the previous game against England, they have actually won 3 games in this qualification campaign, and that in itself is a success for them in their first qualification campaign proper for a World Cup. Before that, they'd had to play in 3 qualification campaigns. Bronze, Paris drives it in, just evaded Toon there to get under control cleanly, or to tap the ball. Here's Mead, and lost by Toon. George loses out. Daly will to take that throw. Greenwood to Williamson. Under no pressure, Leah Williamson can just pick the pass she wants, and she always finds the target. Greenwood. Daly just evades Paris again, but that ball is always on for England.
Well, certainly a dilemma for the Luxembourg left back, because if she narrows off too much with Paris, then there's too much space for Bronze on the outside. A lot of work to do.
Here's Mead. Toon. England have shown themselves to be very versatile. How they approach games. Toon. Mead. Just losing out in the end. Walsh again. If they find there's a problem on the pitch, they've done so well to work it out. The trademark of the European Championships. Even when they had a low moment, they were able to overcome it. Bronze is offside. That tactical flexibility that England showed during the competition as well against different opponents, Emma.
I just think they've done so much better under Serena with how to break down low blocks in particular. The game they did struggle was the game where they had to play without the ball against Spain, and there they showed their resilience, because with 80 odd minutes on the clock, you know, England looked like they were heading out, and this unbelievable mentality from the team, plus the depth that's in the squad, plus the flexibility by being able to change shape, was the difference, and that for me was the making of them in that tournament.
Game 2 of the substitutes, Russo and Toon helping to equalise. They're playing from the start for England in these 2 games. Kirby unavailable. Of course, Ellen White now retired. Paris running on, and that's a brave challenge there from Becker, and got it right just.
She had to. Becker looked beaten. Certainly been a tough evening for Becker, the left back. Really difficult. Paris's movement, her runs in behind is causing her so many problems.
And they're looking to cause more problems here with a set piece to be taken by Greenwood. Williamson waits. And it goes from Greenwood. Oh, and almost an own goal. Headed into her own net, almost by Captain Miller.
Again, you can see Greenwood looking for that front zone area. This time England loading up on the goalkeeper. I think they know they've been first at every contact in the box bar this one.
A busy 6-yard box, difficult for the goalkeeper to deal with. They haven't cleared their lines effectively there. Toon sent back in again by Greenwood. It's going to be another corner.
Also, I think this variety for England has been something developed under Serena. They were the 5th best in the tournament when it came to set pieces.
Taking that corner short there, showing that variety. That one didn't quite come off.
The Icelandic team were the most prolific throughout the tournament. In terms of their execution, I certainly think England have the ability with their set-piece takers to be devastating.
Speaking of Iceland, they're playing a huge qualifier tonight against the Netherlands. 0-0, those 2 sides facing each other. The Netherlands have to win to reach the World Cup automatically, but as it stands, it'd be Iceland qualifying for the World Cup. And still some things to be decided, and one of those groups includes Wales, who only need a point at home to Slovenia to finish in the playoff positions. 0-0 at the moment. Wales in a group with France, who've already qualified for the competition. So many of the big hitters have, including, of course, England. Bronze. Schmidt under pressure. 3 England shirts around her. Doesn't stand much of a chance. Paris. And Walsh, what about that for a ball to Toon? And Toon hooks it to the back post because she knows bodies will be there.
You just can't give Kira Walsh that time. She's the best in the world at that.
Played in by Mead. That's why she's being coveted by Barcelona. Toon looking for bronze, and there's Baxter across there, or Becker I should say, across there again.
I think Becker will be looking forward to the half-time whistle. She's certainly not getting a lot of support down her left-hand side.
Tough line down that side. A relentless running of Nikita Paris, and of course one of the world's best players in Lucy Bronze. Toon, Bronze, Toon, and they're waiting there. There's another one, Rachel Daly.
What a lovely short corner routine. England mixing it up again. Seeing so much variety in what they're doing. This time, that overload on the back post. Quick corner, Greenwood into the feet of Toon, and a lovely piece of combination play. First time delivery. And Daly, we've seen her do this so many times. Heads downwards. England had so many numbers at the back post. Quick thinking.
And a salute to a late father who passed away shortly before their opening match of World Cup qualification against North Macedonia towards the end of last year. She scored against Luxembourg in the reverse fixture. And has scored tonight. Always one of the most popular players in the net in this England team. Fancy that won't be the end for England. Mead. And Daly. And they are cutting through again. Mead. Well, you weren't going to keep her off the score sheet tonight, that's for sure. 5 for England.
Just so much that was good about that, and I have to talk about England's mentality and behaviour from the kick-off, because as soon as Luxembourg kicked off, they had 4 or 5 England players running at the back 4. They won possession of the ball, and this is again good 3-player combination down the left, and that cutback space has been on all evening, especially when you play against the 4-4-2. The back 4 drops deep. That cutback zone is available, and a brilliant shimmy from Mead. And we've come to expect this from her.
And Beth Mead, who's had a fabulous year, cannot stop scoring goals for England. That's number 29 for her. She might get some more tonight.
But again, straight from the kickoff, what a great mentality from England. Is showing everyone why they're European champions.
Absolutely. Goal, the Luxembourg side in a group huddle. But what could they be saying in that group huddle, in all honesty?
How long is it until half-time, maybe?
Absolutely. Here's Toon. And Ella Toon just carrying the ball forward. Just a little pass inside. Mead goes down. Referee not interested, but England interested in more still. Stanway. Becker just losing sight of the ball there. Schmidt trying to turn. Turning. Really, what a night for a 16-year-old in that midfield against this England midfield.
No, but I love England's mentality and the turnover. Stanway, as soon as the ball was dispossessed, she's harassing players, making it difficult for them to settle. This coach has really instilled not just a wonderful mentality, but just great behaviours in the players.
Smile on Serena Wigman's face. I was going to say she probably can't believe this, but she probably can. That's the belief that she's had in this England side and that she's admitted to it.
No, I think it's an expectation for her. I don't think it's about the standards that she's set for the side, and you can see from her record, she knows what she's doing.
And as this half is drawing to a close, I feel like England are going to score with every attack. Where they were 6-0 up against Norway in the Euros, so Luxembourg do have that at the moment. Paris tries to surge forward there. She was well marshalled, and probably one of those England players who will be so desperate to get on the score sheet, because you fancy they'll ring the changes England in the second half as Harbour's gone down in pain.
No, I mean, England can only play against the opposition that's in front of them, and you can see there's just such a gulfing difference between the two teams, but every player is performing like there is a World Cup at stake, and as I said before, this game is about preparing for the World Cup.
Corner from Mead, goalkeeper didn't get near that. Miscue. Bronze. Just need to clear their lines here, Luxembourg, but they can't. Daly. Williamson. Walsh just keeping England moving. And Mead now beats an opposite number very easily indeed. Stanley couldn't get that break in, still working hard, Luxembourg, but it's one-way traffic, of course it was always going to be.
Mead showing good wing play again. It always looks much better on this right-hand side, but she's done a good job for the team on the left.
Austria, meanwhile, 4-0 up against North Macedonia. They've already got the second place sealed in the group after Northern Ireland beat Latvia earlier on this evening. Walsh, who's never scored for England. Toon, taken by Miller. Nice play from Miller actually there. Georges trying to run with the ball, and Williamson should mop that up. No chance, really.
I mean, that tells you what sort of game it is, that the crowd are applauding the back pass to Ellie Roebuck. That's how few touches she's had.
I think that was her first touch. Don't quote me.
I think it was her third.
Let's look into it. Here's Greenwood. Williamson. Mead. They're in again. Stanway fired it. Probably too much pace on it into Russo. Puts it wide.
Oh, it's a lovely run again from Stanway on the inside. Fullback Becker comes out, and of course by coming out to the ball she leaves that inside space. I love the way Russo takes the defender deep before she comes out for the cutback. Just doesn't quite catch it.
Russo with his fast start for England. To her international career with 10 goals in just her 15th cap. Paris. Russo. He is free at the back post.
I'm just so surprised teams like Luxembourg don't just play 5 at the back here. So easy to get beyond the back 4. Such an overload on the fullbacks.
Mead beats the fullback anyway. Stanway. Mead again. Bronze. They have a way of playing, England, which they want to keep that level up. Whoever the opposition is, and that means if they lose the ball, players quickly trying to win it back. Here's Bronze. And Bronze releases Mead. And Mead checks back. Bronze hangs it in there. Point drop to Paris. Attacked by Russo. Williamson. Bronze, this might be England's last attack. Mead says the cross in. Good save from the goalkeeper, who's in the right place and almost forced in on the rebound by Russo.
Again, good patient play from England down the right-hand side. Still far too easy for Bronze to get the ball into the box. But Russo just shows her presence every time she's around the ball.
England taking the corner short, but not enough time to create another chance, but they created enough in that first half. As expected, England dominating in possession, but also on the score sheet. 5 goals in this first half, 2 from Stanway, one of which was from the penalty spot, 1 for Alessia Russo, 1 for Rachel Daly, and 1 for Beth Mead. England in charge, as we thought they might be. Half-time at the Stoke City Stadium. England 5, Luxembourg 0.
Well, you can now watch La Liga here on ITV. We will be showing 10 games a season for the next 3 years, and our next match will be one to savour, the Madrid derby, and that is on Sunday, the 18th of September at 7:30 p.m. on ITV4. And a couple of dates for your diary. England take on the USA in a massive game from a sold-out Wembley Stadium. This is huge. The European champions against the world champions on Friday, the 7th of October. Wow. And then on Tuesday, the 11th of October, we are delighted to announce the Lionesses will face the Czech Republic in Brighton, which of course is another venue from the Euros with plenty of great memories. And both of those games will be live for you on ITV, and we cannot wait. Well, Ian Wright is alongside me, as is Karen Carney. Of course, in these World Cup qualifiers, we have seen huge scorelines, but tougher tests await, as we just heard there.
Yeah.
And then the friendlies before the World Cups, there are going to be some big games, Ian.
Yeah, there are. You know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the USA, because I'm sure they want to come over and show us that they're still the boss. And I'm sure they want to see us. They want to see what we're about, getting towards the World Cup, because the way we're playing, carrying on, they know they're going to have to come up against us at some stage, playing like we are.
Yeah. Okay, some changes. England at the moment 5-0 up against Luxembourg. Millie Bright is coming on, as is Beth England and Katie Zellem, and off comes Leah Williamson, Alessia Russo and Georgia Stanway. Your thoughts on those changes, guys?
Yeah, I mean, Millie Bright, I think we know what we can expect from her. So maybe another younger player coming on and maybe rest Millie. Beth England deserves a chance. She's been in the squad, and Katie Zellem coming on. I don't think she's had too many opportunities for England and been in the squad a long time. So it's a great opportunity for her today. And Leah Williamson and Russo and Stanway have had a great first half. Your thoughts, Ian?
Well, I thought that, like Millie, I would have probably given Millie a rest. I'd probably given a lot of women Moy a game, or maybe even just Carter, just to get them on. But like I say, it doesn't make too much difference. I don't think they're going to be stretched too much unless they overstretch themselves. You know what I mean? It's a kind of practice game and a wave to the fans kind of game for them, with all due respect.
Look, as one-sided as it is, there's another team that we have to consider in this, Luxembourg. What can you do when you are 5-0 down at half-time?
Just try your best and defend. I know they're making changes, but I have to kind of flip it back on England now. It's Serena Wiegmann, she said, when they've had previous results with this type of goals, to go and get more, to drive. Like you said, we've got USA coming up. We have to start being so dominant and ruthless and creating that aura around the world.
She always wanted more goals than me, didn't she, from the very beginning?
And be more ruthless, do the basics right in games like this. It can be very difficult if you don't do it right, but at the same time, we've got the kind of opposition that they're going to struggle against our team. We're a very, very good team, and we've got a manager that's very ruthless in how she wants the team to perform. So, you're just hoping that they go out there, do the basics well, and unfortunately for Luxembourg, it's not going to be good for them.
Yeah, they've already qualified, of course. We know that already. This is going through the motions, but also giving those fan bases that you can see out there, giving them a proper game, because they've travelled to come and see this, and it's the first chance they have since they've become European champions. Why don't we get into this then, the second half? 5-0 up at the moment for the Lionesses. Can they add to that? Will they add to that? Let's find out and hand you over to your commentary team, Emma Hayes and Seb Hutchinson.
Yes, thank you, Laura. 3 changes from England at half-time, 2 from Luxembourg. We don't really expect to change, though, to the England onslaught, to that Luxembourg goal. And as that first half drew to a close, you could see England creating more and more chances by the second, and Toon already on the front foot. Her Manchester United teammate Katie Zellum coming on for just her 3rd cap, all of which have been from the substitutes bench. Here's Millie Bright, firm fixture, centre of that England defence, coming on at half-time. Bronze playing it forward, Paris getting there first. Into Paris keeping that alive. Bronze powering forward. Bronze just ran out of room in the end, but there was a glimpse of the Lucy Bronze we've seen for so many years in an England shirt.
Well, she's building off of the back of a superb European Championship, and she really has been a top player. It's much of the same from England, just dominance again against the 4-4-2, and they're looking at those overloads down the sides.
It's an opportunity for Beth England to add to her England tally. And they're going back, England chasing that. Difficult for Schlemate. Santos battling with Mead, but Mead wins that one. They tried to pick that ball forward, and all the other England players know when their teammates gets the ball, they can commit bodies into the penalty area, knowing how quickly England win the ball back, even if they do take a chance and concede possession. And here is Zellum. Bright out to Bronze. We see Bronze again, the oldest player in this England team at 30. Toon. Mead with room, and across it goes to England, and that has not taken England long. A quick check for the flag, but it counts, Beth.
Well, it's a nice easy finish for Beth England, but another great piece of play from Beth Mead on this left-hand side. And the gaping spaces between that Luxembourg back four is shocking, but from England's perspective, again, Ella Toon with a pass assist. There's a wonderful left-footed cross across the face of goal. And Beth England doing what she does best, inside the width of the 6-yard box.
Double figures for her country, for Bethany England. Daly. Now Toon. difficult start to the second half, to say the least, for Luxembourg. Walsh, Bronze, help that ball on. You see Bronze is definitely in the mood here. There's no chance of taking a foot off the pedal. Zellum just clips that over the top, just runs away in the end. Interesting midfield dynamic now, though.
Oh, especially seeing Walsh play a little bit higher. She's so comfortable as the pivot in front of the back four. Surprised Serena didn't do it the other way, but we do get a chance to see Zellum in a position she's comfortable with. Very good on the ball.
So we're just losing the ball there for a second, but England, no time at all getting that ball back. Bronze. Walsh, more advanced area, cause even more problems at Paris. And again, defender committed to the challenge.
Oh, it's been a difficult evening for Becker. Lunging in. I think he's been fortunate not to concede fouls at times. Very last ditch.
Very difficult position. And Millie Bright's up for this corner. The corner again, pushed away by the goalkeeper. It's going to drop to the edge, and Zellum. Toon lined that one up, didn't really have the space for it. Ella Toon throws her arm down in frustration.
Well, poor decision in those second phases. Just needed the ball to go back out wide and build again.
Well, what an evening this is for England all the same. The immediate effect of success. A sold-out Stoke City Stadium, a sold-out Wembley for the visit of the United States, and plenty of sold-out games in the WSL. Sites that we hope will become commonplace rather than newsworthy.
Now, how brilliant is it, though, to look around, see a packed crowd. You imagine what that atmosphere is going to be like at Wembley for these players. Got used to it. They're so deserving of the crowds that are here.
Maybe future WSL players and Premier League players in this crowd tonight.
And it is having an impact on the WSL. You've seen it with ticket sales already going into the opening weekend. Certainly record numbers.
Greenwood just fortunately running away from Mead again, who gives the thumbs up. Sort of past a really stretched this defence, but Arsenal's trip to Manchester City and the opening weekend is sold out, for example. Serena Vignan enjoying herself. I'm not sure what she's chuckling at. A little rib tickler, though. Any ideas, Emma?
She deserves to laugh. She's done such an amazing job. She looks really calm and relaxed.
So many of these England players think in games like this they might be, just as I said before, taking their foot off the pedal, but they are hungry for goals and not letting their standards drop, knowing full well the opposition that comes next.
I think that's the thing I like about tonight's performance. There's no point talking about Luxembourg in any shape and form, because they're some way away from where England are, but England, I think, play like champions.
Toon linking up with Mead, and off it goes to Walsh. Mead again. Now Zellum. Maybe with Walsh in this more advanced role, she might get a chance to score. Bronze. And Zellum, Toon picking the passes, England. Mead, she go herself. A bit greedy for Beth Mead there. We'll forgive her that, but the England players waiting for the pullback won't.
You know, ironically, in the first half, I felt Ella Toon could have made that extra pass, and ever since then, she's made it. I think she's the queen of pass assists. Slightly wide for Mead. You see, Toon actually wanted the ball back in return.
Luxembourg trying to play out. Just playing themselves into trouble. There'll be an England throw-in as well. The thing is, England biting back into those challenges. I don't think they've conceded a free kick yet. Aggression, but the tackle's clean.
I mean, as you mentioned, there's 4 teenagers playing for Luxembourg, and A lot of amateur players. I think for them, keeping the scoreline below double figures will be a success.
10-0 in the reverse fixture. Most of England's goals coming later in the second half. These from Zellum and Miller. Probably the stand-up player in this Luxembourg side. Plays their football in Belgium. Standard Liège. And Charlotte Schmidt in the midfield for Luxembourg. Even at the age of 16, has been signed to Freiburg in Germany. I said before, well, I said in the first half, Luxembourg's first international game, women's international game, was in 2006, the year after Jill Scott made her debut for England. Just a flat-out example of the progress they've had to make.
Well, you have to consider they have a population of 632,000 people. It's a really small country.
And only half of those are eligible for this team.
Well, how do you know that? Do you know the breakdown of the population?
Save it for another game. Has Santos plenty to think about, but what can you think about? Manager of a side ranked 117th in the world. Record defeat, incidentally, 12-0 to Poland. How close will England get to that? England breaking records by the match over the course of this Serena Wigman time. So many landmarks passed. Have to go some to be score 20 tonight, though. Have a free kick here. Again, the centre backs forward for this free kick. Boos because the Mexican wave was stopped dead pretty quickly. In goes England's free kick. Bright. Toon can't get there. Bright can win it back though. Schmidt does well. Zellum chasing back. Just isolated there. George no way through. And Roebuck, when you're inactive, that's what can happen. All about concentration for the Manchester City goalkeeper. Incidentally, has never kept a clean sheet for England.
She was just testing to see if the crowd were awake. She was in control.
It's the 9th cap for Ellie Roebuck. First competitive appearance. Of course, have to use the word competitive loosely, considering the opposition. He's a World Cup qualifier. Roebuck was the #1 for Great Britain at the Olympics last year. Paris, bronze, bit between her teeth tonight. Hangs it to the back post. And Mead can't keep it alive, but nervy moment for Ellie Roebuck.
I think so. Well, at least the first time she had to touch the ball inside her box. Fortunately, didn't get it obstructed by the post.
She's a goalkeeper who plays with confidence, unruffled after almost coming a cropper. Miller trying to turn. Here's Paris. Miller diving in. Bronze. Greenwood. Zellum. Walsh. Just hacked away, that's all they can do.
England struggling a little bit, sort of playing very narrow. All the bodies inside the pitch have slowed the play down. I know understandable at 6-0, but I think they've got to raise the level of their game, particularly the movement. Open up the pitch as much as possible.
Well, if you want to raise the level of your game, you could send Lauren Hemp out to warm up. I think if you're a Luxembourg defender, it's not going to be a pleasant sight. for consecutive games. And she enjoyed that one, Nikita Paris. 7 up for an England side who just loves scoring goals, no matter the opposition.
Well, certainly a lovely finish from Paris. Been getting herself into that position all night. Again, good pressure regain, great link up. Beth England and Ella Toone involved once again. Lovely ball in behind, great first touch. Just buries it into the bottom corner. Great technique from Paris.
Similar finish across the goalkeeper as she did against Austria, but that one along the ground for the one in Austria, in the top corner. England are still going to make changes despite them scoring there. Simon Hemp going to come on shortly. Mead going on a desperate lunge again. No margin for error. It'll be a corner.
Mead is just so prolific when she gets into those areas, especially when she drives inside the penalty box. England up in the tempo of the game.
And they're going to make the changes before this corner. So Lauren Hemp and Demi Stokes. One played in every game for England, and the other didn't play a minute. But Beth Mead, listen to this ovation for the player of the tournament at the Euros. The tournament's top scorer going off. And Rachel Daly, one of the goal scorers tonight, going off as well. And Lauren Hemp, such a popular young player. One of England's potential superstars. Already such a key player for the Lionesses. And Demi Stokes, one of the experienced members of the squad, joining the fray. Greenwood's corner. Is that going to loop in? Not quite. Here's Stokes. England have shown in the last year that when they make substitutions, their level hasn't dropped. Able to add plenty of firepower from the bench. None more so than Lauren Hemp. Hemp again. And Hemp. That's comfortable for the goalkeeper in the end. A player who perhaps wasn't one of the better performers on the surface in the Euros, but that's because she occupied so many opposition players at times.
Still a young player, a lot of pressure put onto her shoulders. Unbelievable. Technically in the tight, on the dribble. I think at the next levels for her, a bit about adding goals, which I think she did the second part of the last season. I think the last part is just adding more variety to her game when she's so tightly marked and there's not a lot of space in behind. But in terms of individual dribbling attributes, one of the best in the business.
You're going to have so many attacking weapons now. And if one's being pinned down, space for the other. And here's Hemp. Poor Becker on that side.
I mean, if it wasn't enough to deal with Paris all night, she now has to deal with Hemp.
And bronze, of course. Stokes with the ball there. Interestingly, Serena of England keeping Nikita Paris on. She got a goal. Still on as well. And Stokes didn't quite get that one right. So it's gone straight out of play in the end.
Well, I think Paris has had a good game. We certainly looked to stretch in behind at every opportunity. Provided not only depth but width for England in this game. Good decision making, and most importantly, I think a return to her clinical finishing.
Yep, had a bit of a struggle, as we always mention, at Arsenal last season, but now at Manchester United. See how she fits in. A side that features fellow England players, Ella Toone, Alessia Russo, and a couple of younger stars, Ryan Letizia, Grace Clinton, who've also signed for Manchester United from Brighton and Everton respectively. Here's Paris. Just slipped. Just an all-action player, though, for England. Fully committed, hungry for goals, tireless runner.
I think full credit to her. She's pushing to stay at the top end of her career. She knows her form hasn't been at its best, but looks like there will be a return to that.
Bright, eyes lit up. Happy to see Millie Bright shooting from that sort of range?
No, I think it's a terrible decision. I think the chances of scoring from there are so low. I think any player taking that decision needs to reflect on that. Just need to keep the ball moving. I think it's less than a 0.001% chance.
Now then, England, Paris. Wide it goes to him. Walsh. Zellum. It's broken to Bronze. Time for Bronze to drill one across. Goalkeeper got something to that. You see Bronze in that sort of room. Spells so much trouble for the opposition. Bright. Toon to the tune of Sweet Caroline. And Toon couldn't force it home. Goalkeeper Chimay out to smother her.
Toon does so well to react. The initial combination between Paris and England. Great follow-up from her.
Corner taken short by Toon. Greenwood, will that loop over the goalkeeper, was under pressure, but ultimately fouled. So England with 7 goals on the board, but Austria have 8 tonight against North Macedonia. Very close there. Ella Toon. Incidentally, just to keep you updated with some important other scores tonight. The Netherlands 0, Iceland 0. And the Netherlands need to beat Iceland to qualify for the World Cup, otherwise they'll be left to negotiate the playoffs. Wales 0, Slovenia 0, and that will do for Wales to be in the playoffs. France have already qualified top in that group with maximum points, but Wales can seal themselves a place in the playoffs in October. Happened shortly before the World Cup draw. Kemp chasing after this. All just running out of play there. Of course, Luxembourg won't be in that draw, and we're thinking ahead really about nations such as Luxembourg, how to negotiate this qualification to give England maybe more competitive games. Any ideas?
Oh, yeah, that's a great one. But I do think a Nations League would certainly help with the women's game. I think there's such division between perhaps top 9, 10 and then the rest. Yes, there might be a middle cluster, and then beyond that the drop-off is so big. The game is still developing, and as a result of that, some associations still need so much investment into their game so that even at a domestic grassroots level they can provide more.
They're trying to pass that ball through. As I mentioned before, Luxembourg, the previous qualification campaigns, did have to negotiate pre-qualifiers, which they struggled to do. This is the biggest game in their history against currently the best team in Europe. We can say that for the first time. There's the England pressure. Walsh, Toon finding the passes again. Paris to burst forward once more. Pressure. Then that's going to run behind them for a corner. No, not quite. Rescued, kept alive. But we've also seen with Sarina Wiegman that she's loyal to the players that she's brought into the squad. We've seen even with the substitutes, the experienced players who've been around her camp in the past year, the first one she turns to, even in a match like this.
I think she's trying to give everybody some playing time in these 2 games, and I think she's done that.
Send them on the front foot.
Everybody always wants to see mass changes from game to game, but sometimes it just having continuity, especially when you're preparing for a game against the US, is important. And she takes playing for England seriously, and she doesn't hand caps out easily.
What a matchup that will be. England against the United States, a game that will be live on ITV. European champions against the world's #1 ranked side.
It will be a brilliant game. Watching America's front three against us, I've seen the pace of their forwards. I think it will be a huge test for England.
It's exactly what Sarina Wiegman wants. She said she constantly wants to test this England side against the best nations to see where they're at, in her words.
On the flip side, I think we'll trouble their back four.
England troubling this Luxembourg defence again. Hemp in looking for England. Bronze desperately wanted that ball to fall to her in the penalty area.
Oh, Bron's been a constant thorn. Starting to come a little more inside. Hemp taking the width on that right-hand side.
Bronze again. There was moments actually in the Austria game where England felt like their level dropped and they were caught out a couple of times in defence, and I think they felt they just have to keep that level up, whatever the opposition, whatever the scenario. Hemp clips it into the penalty area, and Bronze can't keep it in play.
And she doesn't give up a single ball. I talk about setting standards. I think it all starts with Lucy Bronze in this team. And really improved the longer this year has gone on. In particular, I think her game in the final was exceptional. She really was.
Final that will live long in the memory for English football. Whatever happens from now. Hopefully not another 56 years of hurt, though.
No, that's far too long.
Here's Miller. Under pressure from Walsh. And Dos Santos. Nice touch to get away from Paris. In goes Stokes. Not allowing any room. Defence. Bright. England. Hemp. Lays it off to nobody actually in the end, except Schmidt. But Hemp will force her way through. It's a little bit messy in the middle there. And Zellum was caught. Easily went down in pain there. She's back up to her feet. Manchester United fans will be pleased to know. Here's Katie Zellum again to her teammate Toon, urged to shoot. Toon trying to waltz her way through. Stokes to Paris. And Paris goes down, she'll get the penalty. Second penalty of the night for England. And twice Luxembourg have lunged in. Marquez Abreu, the substitute.
Well, good play from Paris. I think she knows how to get the penalty there. I've seen it. Really good play from Paris. Just cuts across the defender, draws her in.
Another of the substitutes, the teenager. But England's penalty through Toon. Slides it in the corner. Easy as you like for Ella Toon. And that's been England's performance, really, in a nutshell. Easy as you like. And they hit 8. And that won't be the end. They're smelling double figures again.
No, but it's no more than Ella Toon deserves. Been involved with a lot of goals. Not a lot of space in that central area. Has so much confidence to step up and take this. Lovely finish.
And that 8th goal brings up a century of competitive goals under Sarina Wiegman. Her side just cannot stop scoring. Spain in the Arnold Clark Cup, where she incidentally put a second string, I say that with inverted commas because it was a very experienced side all the same. It's the only time the opposition has stopped England from scoring the entire duration of England's tenure so far. Stokes. Bright. Zellum to Walsh. Bronze. England easing their way round the pitch. Bright. Hemp. Walsh again, finding Toon, who finds Paris, who can't find England in the middle, and the flag was up in any case, but Ella Toon just having the run of the show, really.
Well, it's the way she comes off the back foot, pirouettes. It's just a lovely split pass, perfectly weighted, slightly mistimed by Paris, but I think Paris has been excellent tonight.
Back to Dos Santos, and back they go to the goalkeeper, and England applying the pressure. Start to think here, Luxembourg trying to pass the ball out of defence, that had run out of play. It's one thing they haven't done tonight, Luxembourg, is just try and clear their lines, but I don't think there's any scenario that would make life easy for them.
No, I think they knew what they were going to expect tonight. This is all about England, and as I've mentioned before, it is about building towards the World Cup. Yes, this is a homecoming, but England want to win the World Cup, and the preparations for that start now.
Absolutely, they know they'll be there the tournament next year. Luxembourg won't be there, and huge disappointment really for their top goal scorer Amy Thompson tonight. Sent off. Second bookable offence against Northern Ireland after scoring an equaliser. Huge goal for Luxembourg in the game at the time. She went to take her shirt off, didn't complete the action, put her shirt down and was shown a yellow. Very harsh indeed for a player whose father is from Manchester. What a night it would have been for her. But denied that opportunity. So I'd say it's pretty harsh indeed.
It is.
Every time Luxembourg tried to break forward, nothing happens. But that's a free kick, and that might be the first free kick England have conceded tonight. Again, gives me a chance to update you on the scores from those key groups in World Cup qualification. Still 0-0 between the Netherlands and Iceland, and still 0-0 between Wales and Slovenia. So as it stands, Iceland will qualify for the World Cup, and Netherlands will go into the playoff, and Wales will be in a playoff. And Bright clearing that free kick away, wasn't to be. Austria have hit 10 against North Macedonia. And this is really a scenario at the moment where England now on 8. 78 goals England have scored in this qualification campaign. To put them in comparison, Austria have scored 50. Hemp running Dos Santos, who's pretty quick herself, and got there. Lauren Hemp measured as the third quickest player at the Euros. She was matched there. She was running with the ball. Schmidt trying to work her way out. Special night it is for so many of these younger players, Luxembourg in particular. They did all say as much before this game. All about the occasion for them. Bright, Walsh on the turn, and that could spell trouble for the opposition. Hemp, corner. We'll have to see a goal from Walsh.
Oh, she's deserving of it. I mean, she certainly got the recognition this summer. What a fabulous player she is.
Well, Becca's coming off here. A memorable night for her. She's had to deal with Paris and bronze and Hemp running at her isolated for much of the game. And Joanna Lorenko, the half of the twin sisters tonight, coming off as well. Tina Kochan, Naomi Taberi are coming on. Taberi started the game against Northern Ireland, which didn't complete before. They equalised late on against Northern Ireland, only to be denied after that sending off of Thompson to lose 2-1. Narrow defeat against a side who played at the Euros. But England another level up from that. Greenwood's corner. Paris is in there and it was attacked by Bronze, who's been a force of nature tonight.
Oh, she really has. Again, another good delivery from Greenwood, but it's so easy to access that central area. Bronze gets the first contact.
About 10 minutes left of this game, which is 15 minutes ahead of those other two key matches that I mentioned for qualification tonight. Schmidt. Santos clearing it away. Greenwood. Hemp. And that ball under control too, letting that run past her body. Santos. They are so busy, relishing this challenge in the midfield, the 20-year-old. But hard there in the end in that midfield. Zelen can't hold on to it. There's some battling moments in that midfield area, and ultimately emerging with the ball. Walsh. It goes to him. Paris is free at the back post. England's in the middle. Misses both of them.
Well, England had players lining up inside the box. You can see Luxembourg really starting to tie up. Being pushed into a back five, back six at times.
And they're still getting in behind Paris. Tried to backheel into the path of Bronze. And Bronze going in with a challenge, flattening her opponent there. I think England might put the ball out of play here, being 8-0 up. So she was a force of nature tonight.
Strong challenge. Bronze gets there first and just clatters her opponent.
Well, Lucy Bronze, to think being the most experienced England player at the age of 30, says all you need to know about this England team at the moment. We've lost some big names really, Ian White and Jill Scott. And speaking of Jill Scott, watching on, who came so close to beating Farrell Williams' caps record.
She sat on my age all the time, wondering what they're discussing.
Didn't want to say. Some breaking news there, Emma.
No comment.
England running out of time to get to 10. Switzerland have scored 15 tonight against Moldova. As I said before, Austria scored 10 against North Macedonia. Spain currently beating Ukraine by 4-0 would mean that they would 100% record. Denmark, with France and England to the other sides, win all their games. But the Netherlands, Serena Wiegmann's compatriots, and the side she coached before. As it stands, the side that reached the World Cup final and lost to the United States in 2019, as it stands, they're going to have to negotiate the playoffs if they want to be part of the tournament. 15 minutes left of their game against Iceland, still 0-0.
That'd be some result for Iceland if they pull that off.
Iceland were at the European Championships. Country with a smaller population than Luxembourg. Shows what is possible.
Yeah, and that's my point about, you know, equity. A team like Iceland over years have been a good player in the women's game. They've had a good domestic league, produced players. There's been investment into the game. It's not about population size.
Paris. Hemp. And Toon. Stokes. Stokes wants the corner. Will be a goal kick in the end. Of course, we are just under a year away, 10 months or so away from the start of the World Cup, and so there's a full WSL season to get out of the way, Emma, as well. There are players who still feel they can be parts of that England setup by that time. We know how quickly things can change.
No, absolutely. That's why the league is so crucial to England's success. And players are going to have to perform week in, week out, not just within the WSL, but those England players that are playing overseas.
Now Bright under pressure and losing the ball. But what a moment this could be for Luxembourg. Greenwood trying to track the run, make it difficult. And England got the bodies back there. You just always felt. And we were talking about fitness there. Able to carry the ball that far, so much to do. But, will you be having a word with Millie after that?
No, I'm not going to start knocking on her. She knows she should have played the ball back to the goalkeeper, but players have recovered, and something that England do well as a team, they get bodies back behind the ball.
Toon carrying the ball. Walsh. Bronze. Hemp is there. Brings it down, Hemp. And defence in the end from Dos Santos. Has done pretty well on that side, all things considered.
She's had a really good second half. She really has. She's done her absolute level best.
To a close here as Zellum clips that in. How did that not go in? It's extraordinary. Paris bashing the post in frustration.
Well, I think she knows it. It was so instinctive from her. She got herself in a great position. Hung up. Lofted ball from Zellum to the back post. Good save initially. And it was parried perfectly onto Paris's head. Just hit it with the outside of her head.
Well, when your team is 8-0 up, maybe you can forget those. Well, we've seen it. Here's Bright. Greenwood. Can Hemp keep this in? Just runs away from her there. Well, we're closing in here. England still score a couple before the end, but how would you sum up this qualification campaign under Sarina Wiegman?
Well, if I rewind 12 months ago, and I look at the team now versus then, this is a confident, well-oiled machine that, being European champions, I think will elevate them to the next level. Everyone is clear on their roles. That is been 12 months of bedding in. You certainly know they can play under pressure, they can perform under pressure, and I think that this is very much one of the favourites going into next year's World Cup.
How would you sum up Ellie Roebuck's performance tonight?
I think she will be pleased to leave here with a clean sheet. I think that's her priority, especially being given a start. So I'm happy for her.
Toon. Hemp now. Hemp forcing her way through the challenges. Again, covering across was Kramer. Last ditch again.
As it's had to be all night. You see one of the varieties from England and their set pieces. We've had so many.
So Zellum to take this corner. England looking for 9. Dealt with at the near post by Dos Santos. Even though very tired indeed, Luxembourg, there's still plenty of pride in their side. Still working hard to keep the score as low as they can. Zellum hangs it to the back post. Bright looking to attack it. Bronze as well. And desperate for that to go behind for a goal kick, but it will be another corner. Every time England player goes across to take a corner on that side in particular, they get a very warm reception indeed. Bright, again the target at the back post, you would fancy it. Bronze as well, and there's Bronze's header, and they do force it in. Lauren Hemp. In the 90th minute, England hit 9, and we knew they weren't finished yet. And it's another of the substitutes, Lauren Hemp.
We can't concede 3 or 4 corners in a row, not expect to give up anything. Again, brilliant left foot delivery from Greenwood. Bronze, often the first contact. And look at the bodies England have got around the second phases, around the central area of the 6-yard box. Hemp in particular, first to react. I think had she not, Beth England would have scored.
Well, 4 times England have got to double figures in this qualification campaign. And they're 1 away from doing it for a 5th time. And 2 minutes, though, to find that 10th goal. We've almost played a minute in that 2 minutes. England, Zellum, pushing here. Bronze should take the corner, can send one in and look for that 10th goal.
I think the crowd will go wild if it goes in.
England's corner, looking for 10, getting 10! Beth England, for England. It's happened once more for this flawless side. For the 5th time in this qualification campaign, they've hit double figures. And right at the death as well.
That's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Beth England in a brilliant position. Can just see a little short movement behind the front post zone. So much space. Bullet header, something she does so well. Don't take her eyes off the ball. Perfect ending.
The Lionesses leather Luxembourg on a night where it only rained goals. 10 tonight, 10 wins from 10. No goals conceded in this qualification campaign as well. Perfection from this England side. Perfection from the European champions. Now their attention turns to taking on the world champions on the path to taking their title. Tears on the Luxembourg faces, but it's still a big night for them. And a word from you, Emma, on England's campaign.
I just love the swagger in the team, and being champions, I think, will give another level to this side. Also seeing a return to form from players, and of course strength in depth from the bench. Once again, I think really bright future for England.
England hitting 80 goals in this qualification campaign, winning tonight by 10 goals to nil.